Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again at the lily pad. I did this reading already and something corrupted my video file. I'm so disappointed because it was incredible, but let's see how it turns out this time, and I'll be interested to see if some of the same cards show up or if the same meaning comes up. Anyway, what this reading is to address is this sense of treachery that I'm feeling, that I'm picking up on in my environment. And I was also receiving feedback about it from other people that I've spoken with today, and another reading that I had done for this woman a little earlier today. And yeah, it just seems like it's very thick in the air. So I thought I would come home and do a collective reading and find out what the cards have to say, picking up on the network of energy. What is this treachery that we're feeling? Ah! Okay. First card out, Three of Cups in reverse. I'm laughing because this was how this reading started out earlier today. So this is the current situation, Three of Cups in reverse. Well, next is Nine of Cups in reverse. This is the lesson or the challenge. Again, the next card that showed up earlier, the Moon in reverse, and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, well, this showed up in the reading that I was trying to record for you last time, so really interesting. Okay, what this is telling me, Three of Cups in reverse is about a situation in our lives that's happening right now that should be joyful. It should be, we, quote unquote, should be experiencing this as a time of unification, celebration, joy, getting together. And, or really it's more like, let's put it this way, it's like a period of time that we should be experiencing as fulfilling. And that's not what the experience is. And there's something off. And that's how we're feeling it. Good things are happening, and yet it doesn't feel right. And so this is like that cognitive dissonance thing where you know that something's not quite right, and it's really difficult because someone looking from the outside might say, what's wrong with you? How come you're not enjoying yourself? Or how come, whatever it is. But something's not quite right. And what it is what I'll say, although I need to get another card to confirm it, but what I'll say is that there is a balancing effect of two. There's the balance. And then a third element has been introduced that's disrupted the balance. Now, balance will be achieved, right? Because eventually the two legs will lean over into the third and create a tripod. But the introduction of the third has imbalanced, has created an imbalance. Let's just, before we get clarification cards, we'll go to the next one. So the next card, Nine of Cups in reverse, this is, considered the wish card. Or it's a card about, receiving the emotional fulfillment that you seek. And so when it's in reverse, brings up, especially with this card here, it brings up that, ideas around like, well, you got what you wished for, but it turns out that it wasn't the fulfillment that you believed it would be. And in this card, it's so interesting because this character is wearing armor, and she has this fan, and the fan, it's a fan of wishes, right? A fan of her cups. And so fans, what was it that traditionally fans were used to cover the face and to show modesty, but she's actually holding the fan down here. It's not a demonstration of modesty. She's holding the fan down here, and it's almost like virtue signaling, I want to say. And instead, she's covered in armor, which is overkill as far as modesty goes. So, what does that have to do with this? What I would say is that, and it's in reverse. So, what I would say is that this character has been wishing for things that she thinks should be good, and it turns out that they haven't been. But her wishes have come from a place that's a bit out of touch with her natural skin, who she really is. And so she's created this, you can see behind her, she's got flowers, and let's see, it's a little blurry. All these lush, giant flowers, but still nothing's coming through. Like, you can't feel the softness of a flower petal on your skin when you're wearing that armor. And so the cups aren't, they're not actually fulfilling. When I put this together with the Three of Cups, what I would say is that this treachery, let me just get a clarification. Could you show me a little bit more about this Three of Cups in reverse? Tell us more about this situation. Spirit, tell us more about? Go. Okay. Well, it's hard to talk about these things sometimes as a reader, but I believe that authenticity is healing, even when it's hard to hear, that the truth sets us free. So, the two cards that came out to clarify the Three of Cups in reverse are the Seven of Swords, which is the card of treachery, which is what this reading is about, and then also the Page of Wands. Seven of Swords in reverse, and Page of Wands. And so the Three of Cups, these are clarifying the Three of Cups. And so it's the introduction of this third party was a treacherous move, is what I'll say. In other words, sometimes a third party could be like a therapist that a partnership will go to for outside perspective or wisdom. And that introduction of that third will, pierce through the stability of the two, but in a way that uplifts the union. And but this introduction of a third was done so without pure intention. And so this could be, the type of situation where you're having an argument with someone, and then you say you call your mother and you say, and can you believe what happened? Because you know that your mom is going to side with you. And so you're, you know, introducing. Okay, sorry about that. So so where was I? I think I was saying that there are lots of ways that a third party can be introduced, and triangulation is one example. Um, but really, this person, in this case, it's either you or another person, but a third party was introduced for the purpose of creating an imbalance. So whether, calling your mom on the phone to side with you in an argument makes you feel better, and then you can go to your spouse and say, well, my mom agrees that blah 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 blah, or maybe you pull a sibling in, or a friend, or whatever it is. um, but it's introducing an external element for the purpose of creating that imbalance. And I say that it's for that purpose because to have the Seven of Swords in reverse is a sabotaging card, and traditionally, right side up, it's a self-sabotaging card. It's like it's sneaking around because you feel like you have something to hide, and you feel that you need to, do things. You need to be cloaked about the way that you go about doing things, because maybe people wouldn't agree with you if you asked for it directly, or a situation along those lines. When the card is in reversed, to me, I don't know, it's a little bit more like underhanded, is how I see it. And it's even more painful for the person who is doing this. In this card, we have a dragon lady, um, and her scales are made with flowers. Whoops, you can see that. And she's stealing eggs from a nest back here and putting them into her basket. And what I see in this card, but she's covered in flowers, and in a way that's almost like her camouflage in this pastoral scene. And and the eggs are something that hold nourishment, or powers, or stories, or beginnings, but definitely truths. And 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 it always interests me when someone will lie or cheat to obtain the truth, because it's kind of like, oh, it doesn't really matter what the means are, or the means justify the end. And I don't believe that that's the way that the universe works, and that's what this Seven of Swords is really talking about. This character believes that the means justify the ends, and doesn't realize that, of course, it's all about the means, not the ends. The eggs are there for the taking anyway. It's a snake would naturally eat the eggs of a bird, or whatever the being is that laid the eggs. It's part of the natural food chain. There's nothing wrong with eating the eggs, but to feel the need to steal the eggs and stockpile the eggs, that's what is unnatural. A snake will naturally go and eat the egg, and when it's full, it leaves, having received the nutrients. So it's only a snake that isn't receiving the nutrients that's taking more than it needs. Anyway, it's really, to me, this card is about someone who is taking, who knowingly is doing something disruptive, who is knowingly taking more than they need or asking for something that is unnatural. Whereas it's like the flip side of this coin is that the thing that they're asking for, or the thing that they're actually wanting, is a natural thing to want and to ask for. And that's not the issue. It's the way they're going about it, the sneaky way that they're going about it, and then how they're stockpiling it. Anyway, let me move on from this. The next card we have is the Page of Wands, and the Page of Wands is like is a student of desire and life force energy. And it's still a little blurry, isn't it? Let me put it. I think the camera shows it better if it's in front of my face. Okay. There we go. So this page has a giant magnifying glass, and which looks as though he's examining his environment and studying things with curiosity. However, one thing that I know that I've had to learn about and teach my boys about is that if you go out into the light of day, into the wilderness, and you have a magnifying glass and the sun is hitting the glass, you can start a fire. And Page of Wands, of course, is the student of fire, the desire, passion. And so it's irresponsible. And so this Page of Wands is kind of going around with this giant tool that actually can cause some damage here and there. And I think that what I'm thinking is that the Seven of Swords, this character that we're beginning with, who is going about things the wrong way, is this Page of Desires, who also is cloaked in red. I think that we're dealing with an immature energy who is using manipulation and other mind games to explore desire, passion, or life force, which is a natural state of any life, the curiosity of something new, and the inspiration and drive, and these are all, very natural in and of themselves. So anyway, let's keep going. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, so there's no need to be deceptive or to be cloaked about it. But it's very revealing of who this character is, that they would cloak and that they would pull a Three of Pentacles, and meaning like introducing a third party for the purpose of destabilizing a situation. And the following card, the Nine of Cups in reverse, being the lesson or the challenge, tells me that this Page of Wands, that this person is doing this in order to get what they desire. And also, I just want to point out here that the Seven of Swords card, doesn't it look like, if you see in the Nine of Cups, which is our challenge or lesson, you see how her head is covered in these gorgeous flowers, and it almost creates this like trailing, or maybe it's like a train behind her. You see how all the way down, it's just like the dragon's tail, isn't it? I point that out because this queen has made wishes, or I'm sorry, this Nine of Cups has made wishes that ultimately didn't satisfy because they were made from a place of fear. That's why you would wear such armor. And when you're coming from a place of fear, you can't feel the softness of the petal on your skin. Okay. Next card is the thing that must be done. And this is the moon in reverse, which tells us that there's a lot of distortion in the energy right now. That ordinarily the moon would talk about trusting your instincts and using your other senses, meaning your senses of the intuitive realm, other than the five senses. And well, the way I talk about the moon is that it's like you go out into the garden during the day and the sun is there and you the flowers and you feel the grass and you know what this bush is and that flower and the smells and the sights and then if the moonlight calls you out to the garden at night, you walk out into that same space that you were playing in during the day, but it's a totally different environment and there are shadows and that look like something might be over there or there and make you jump and the bugs are different. They're different pollinators there. They're different smells because the flowers smell different to attract different pollinators at different times of the day. And so it smells different, it feels different, it looks different. And so the five senses that we would use in the garden during the day are very different. And they will, if we use those senses when we venture to the garden at night, they will provide us with distorted feedback because we need to use our nighttime vision, which in this case is our intuitive faculties, our inner guidance system. And so when this card's in reverse, it's really more of a warning that that the messages that you are receiving are incorrect, and that it's also interesting that the Nine of Cups, that was a reversal, that the Nine of Cups and the Seven of Swords, they're all taking place in the garden. So is the Page of Wands. They're all taking place in this garden. Wishes are being made in this garden, but there's a misinformation that's operating here. Our perceptions are all distorted. We're going to have to come back to this. Our perceptions are distorted. People are sneaking around, stealing things, and creating chaos and destruction with the magnifying glass. Tell us more about the moon in reverse, Spirit. Tell us more about this moon in reverse. The World and the Seven of Wands. Well, the World talks about the completion of a cycle. It talks about the completion of a cycle, a lesson learned, and a graduation. It's good on you. You've learned this lesson and then you've integrated it, or you're in the process of integrating it, and it's time to move on to the next interest of yours, or the next lesson, the next cycle. And so that completion, that graduation to the next phase, the next stage, the next cycle, is clarifying the moon in reverse. So where things are distorted, information is, okay, hold on. The other card that fell was the Seven of Wands, which is this funny guy. He's the strong man, and he is using this experience to motivate him to break out. And so 7 and 7. That's exactly what's happening here. There's a situation that's happening here that it turns out wasn't what you thought it was. It wasn't the wish that you thought it was. That beautiful train of flowers, it turns out, was a dragon that's been stealing from you. And it's kind of, I'm not going to hold that up again. Anyway, it's kind of confusing from you. It's kind of confusing. Why would the dragon steal from you when they really could just, when it's natural that a dragon would eat eggs, and so you would have given the eggs anyway. But the dragon didn't eat the eggs or ask for the eggs. The dragon went and stole the eggs and added this element, brought in this element of this, the third party, the third element of deceit. And the third party, meaning not necessarily a person, it can be a person, but it introduced deceit into a situation that was a very natural situation. And there was this irresponsible nature to that had the potential to be very destructive with the magnifying glass. So something that you thought was a wish, it turns out the thing that you thought was a wish, it turns out you have to protect yourself from. I was reading these not the wrong way. It was distorted. The message was distorted. I was using my other senses. But now I see that this situation was its own experience that you were meant to integrate, this lesson, this learning experience that you're meant to integrate. And it's intended that you see it that way and move along to the next world, to your next cycle. And in the meantime, there's this confusion that's probably leading to a little bit of sadness or feeling of being trapped or anger, because the strong man, one of his tattoos says love, if you can see that. But he's using this to motivate him to break away, to break out of this confusion of the moon, and to break the cycle too. It's like in order to graduate and move on to your next, you have to break the cycle. You have to break out of the cycle. You've got to break out of the cycle. Wow. Wow. Okay. And our last card. So, yes. Okay. The last card is the Wheel of Fortune. And I love this card because um, there are all these wheels that are operating and turning and twisting, and they all have to, all the wheels have to work together in order to create this, in order to make the woman move or to make her heart tick. It looks like they kind of all move, make the heart, or either way, whether it goes up or down, makes her feet move. It makes her move. It animates her. Let's say that. Anyway, this is the Wheel of Fortune. Is so it's like they're all these little pieces, and it's like destiny is. It's the way that destiny or fate works. It's like the universe is constantly moving pieces behind the scenes and intervening on your behalf to orchestrate, changes and shifts and choices and opportunities to bring you to the place where you need to be. And when the Wheel of Fortune shows up, it means this is one of these like fated moments or convergence points, and where you meet your destiny, or well, it's a fated moment where you have an opportunity to meet your destiny or achieve your destiny. And luck is on your side. So I'm feeling like we've got the World and the Wheel of Fortune. And I'm just wondering, is the breaking away, are you just a cycle breaker? I mean, is that the purpose of this? Or is this flash? Is this to be a cycle breaker? Or what is the Wheel of Fortune? Tell us more about the Wheel of Fortune, I guess. Here, tell us more about the Wheel of Fortune. Hi. Oh, okay. 2 cards fell out. Strength and the 3 of Wands in reverse. Oh, wow. Okay, so this 3 of Wands is really interesting because, can you see that? Or is there we go. Because this larger than life woman, here we go again, kind of reaches down like Godzilla and picks this boat up out of the water, and it's like she's about to put it somewhere else. And so to me, this is like divine intervention. And I know that the 3 of Wands usually means that you send things out, and you send out your prayers, and then you wait for them to come back to you. And so if we look at it that way, we can see, you can say like, okay, your prayers are being answered and your boat is being picked up and moved, because your boat is the vessel. It's the direction, it's your journey. But perhaps you were sailing north when it's better for you, or best, of the highest good, that you actually sail south. And so, did I say, yeah, this was in reverse. And so the divine has come down and orchestrated this shift. And your boat has been plucked out of the ocean, and it is about to be placed somewhere else. Wow. Wow. Where is she going to go? I don't know, but have strength. I think this has been a challenge. The thing that must be done. So you haven't completed the lesson yet. This is still happening. This is challenging. I can feel that. That's the strong man here, and the strength card. It's like this is gonna require strength, inner strength, because I sense this attachment to the wish. It's just that it's like you've been living in this garden, this moonlit garden, but not moonlit in like the magical positive way of like, the moonlight fairies and moonlight intuition. This is more like the distorted moonlight, the moonlight where shadows appear to be scary, and I don't know. There's something that just hasn't been quite right. Like we said with that 3 of Cups, something just hasn't been quite right, and you've known that. Or at least you know it now. And I think I'm here to tell you that you're right. It hasn't been quite right. And actually that trail of flowers, the train of the hat, the hairdress of flowers is actually made from part of this dragon that's stealing your eggs, that's stealing your truth, that's stealing your treasure. And you actually know this because you've been protecting, because you're wearing armor. You are protecting yourself from it. What a trick. What a trick. Anyway, I guess what I'm here to tell you is that the Wheel of Fortune is orchestrating something very big. Yes, it's very big. And you are about to experience a divine intervention. And the purpose for this is to close out a cycle, to break free from a cycle of illusion that's actually been harming you. But it's kind of dressed up in these flowers. And you know what this is referring to. You've had an inkling of an idea, and yes, you are correct. Trust that. That is true. You've got to dip into your inner strength now. And help is on the way. I love it. It's like, oh, but this guy was in reverse. And so, that's what it is. This card is in reverse because I think you've already been plucked out of the situation. Your boat has already been removed. But it hasn't been put back. And that's really confusing. And that's where this strength comes in. It's because you're meant to snap out of it. You're meant to dispel the illusion. You're meant to break the cycle, the mental cycle first. And once you do that, the 3 of Wands, and you do that by going in, and you have to go inside, and you have to touch base with your inner strength and your inner knowing. And your inner strength is the part of you that isn't looking for the rescue. Your inner strength is the part of you that says, oh, wait. I know a really good game. I know one of those really great hiking games because we've got hours to go still. So let's make this fun. And then you start playing the picnic game. I went on a picnic and I brought something that began with the letter A. And Think about some of the tricks that you played as a child, or you might play with your children if you're on a long hike. And that's where you dive into your inner strength. It's the part of you that talks you through the journey that you have to take. This is for you. And as you do that, as you cultivate this strength, the wheel hasn't finished turning. It's just picked you up, and then it's going to put you back down. But this time it's going to put you back down exactly where you need to be. Just think about think about all the different things that had to conspire together to get you exactly where you want to be, where no armor is necessary, the place where your heart wants to go, where you can lay down with the lion. It's really beautiful. Hi, everyone. I'm back. It's been a few hours, and I was sitting in my meditation group, and questions kept coming up for me. So I've decided I'm going to do an extended. And in the extended, I want to look at a little bit more about what it means to break free of this cycle. What are we being asked to do? What does that look like? Sometimes these situations can be confusing. And of course, while I was doing the reading, I was thinking, oh, it's about recognizing that the thing that they wanted wasn't actually serving them, and that they need to, but so what does that mean? They just have to be more careful? Or I mean, if the world is showing up in the moon, it seems like there are some more, the lesson is a little more significant, especially since we've got divine intervention coming here that is offering, that has plucked us out of this situation and is about to place us where we need to be. That's a huge moment. And so I want to understand what is the strong man breaking free from? So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at what are some of the steps that are being asked in order, or required maybe. What steps are we being asked to take in order to close out this cycle? Maybe how do we know when the new one has begun? And let's look at a little bit more of like, where's our boat going to land? What are the signs and the signs and synchronicities we get? I guess that signs and synchronicities are their own answer, but what kind of landscape are we going to look forward to? So, if you're interested in flushing out some more of these details and finding out more of these steps and how do we close this out, click on the link below in the description, and I'll see you in the extended. Okay, bye.